Hey guys, Zane here with another One Take review, and today I wanted to talk about the new Ken Carson album, X. X is the sophomore studio album from rapper and rage artist Ken Carson. If you don't know what rage is, it's a subgenre of hip-hop that was popularized by cats like Playboi Carti, and if you don't know who Playboi Carti is, then you obviously haven't really been paying attention to the modern rap scene that much, as this entire sound has been, I won't say totally dominant, but close to over the course of the past couple of years or so. Even Playboi Carti himself's discography has gotten mixed responses, to say the least. Some people love him and the style, some people hate him in the style, and the rest can definitely be said to a more intense level to the rest of his disciples in general. I mean, really, some people who really are into the sound are likely to enjoy the vast majority of it, and people who are less than really into the sound are likely to see cats like Ken Carson as just major knockoffs of an already mildly unoriginal sound, with things like a general lack of originality on the album, and as I upload this and record this, the recent Anthony Fantano / Needle Drop review of this exact record that was less than positive about it, shall we say. There has been a lot of negative reception surrounding Ken Carson, though he definitely does have his fan base and followers as well. Now, this record definitely does have a lot of negative aspects about it, but let me get the main positive out of the way here first. The beats on X are actually pretty good overall. They mostly sound the same, and that is definitely a legitimate criticism that a number of people have given since this record first came out, but at the same time, I think that they are decent, remarkably consistent, and generally work for the rage style, even if Ken Carson doesn't exactly flow properly in time as he should be constantly. He's nowhere near as distinct as some of his peers within this similar style, but at the same time, the instrumentals here are absolute gold compared to the other certain qualities about the album that I will discuss in a moment. Sure, it's easy to say that records like this and artists like Ken Carson are just Playboi Carti knockoffs, but you know what, that kind of makes sense considering he is the one that produced this album. After all, Carti is the one that was behind this record. You could say that he was the ultimate true mastermind behind it as the executive producer, and as such, it's obvious there are going to be some of his own artistic touches, embellishments, and flares throughout the entirety of X, and while it definitely does show, I can at least say that the instrumental aspect of the record is solid, most likely because of that. Now, here's where we get into the actual major problems that stop this album from being great, good, decent, mediocre, anything above mediocre. There are just some truly horrible qualities that X has, and one of them is Carson himself. Ken Carson as a performer is almost totally lifeless, remarkably emotionless almost, and really just does not even bother to try and make himself remotely distinct in the current landscape of hip-hop. He mostly feels like a dollar store budget version of those that came before him, and he can't even manage to be dreadfully boring like some of his peers in the rage genre that feel equally uninspired. Rather, like I said before, he sometimes doesn't entirely fit the beats that he's going for, and his couple of freestyle tracks here are especially weak, as it seems like he doesn't really know what he's doing with the song, but really almost every song here kind of feels like a freestyle to some extent. There are a number of tracks here that ultimately feel directionless, leading into an album that ultimately serves no purpose. It's not like a better performer would have totally salvaged the album, however, because his lyricism is truly god-awful, and even though I don't think it's right to expect this, like, modern piece of literature or anything like that, I don't expect Carson to be going into the theory of singularity of gravity or anything like that on a Rage album. I do expect half-decent lyrics, and none of that is here. Not even once on X is there a single line or bar or quotable that's even remotely amusing or slightly engaging with the listener. Jabs at humor, lack punchlines, and themes of aggressive sexuality and drug usage feel tired and overdone, especially within the realm of rage music, which has largely based itself around that exact kind of lyrical concept. That being said, Freestyle 2 does have the lyrics, "I'm the shit like a turd, but my shit smell like cologne," and that basically saves the entire record, if I'm being honest. That might be bar of the year. Move over, Kendrick Lamar. I will at the very least admit there are a number of different lines here that I could quote as being hilariously bad, but for every one of those lines that's there that would actually make me bump this up to the lane of mediocrity because it can at least be unintentionally enjoyable, there has to be at least another 10 lines that are just so mind-numbingly dull and uninteresting and generally generic that they, again, just serve no purpose within the current world of music, which has done basically every single bar on this record again and again, time and time again, by artists that have greatly surpassed Ken Carson in terms of actual ability, in terms of actual flow, in terms of actual everything. This record is a headache, which is why I'm starting to kind of stall a little bit here, but it's just truly a frustrating album as his performance work is weak, and you would think that maybe his lyricism would make up for it, and it just completely fails to do that. So overall, X is just a lifeless outing from an individual that definitely had potential, but just ultimately feels like a bad knockoff of the artists that came before him that originally defined the Rage sound, style, lyrical conceptualism, performance style, aesthetic, etc., etc. I'm going to give this album 1 star out of 5. My one take on this album is that while X definitely does have some decent instrumentals that suit the Rage subgenre, nothing could have prevented Ken Carson's lack of presence and absolutely atrocious lyrical stylings from absolutely ruining any chance that his latest record had of being even remotely successful. So again, 1 star out of 5, and with that being said, that's the end of this review, and I'll see you guys in the next one.